because you don't want this piece of solder falling down into your engine. Once we get that taped on there and make sure that solder isn't going anywhere, we're going to rotate the motor just a little bit down so the piston has some clearance, and then we'll put our head on, because once we put the head on, we're going to rotate the motor back to top dead center, smash that solder against the top of the head, and be able to know exactly the distance between our piston and our head. So let's get this torqued on and check the squish. Now we're going to go ahead and turn our motor over to top dead center and let that actually smash the solder against the top of our cylinder head now. So here we go. There we go. Pop that over. Hopefully using the middle thickness of the gaskets provided is going to be exactly what we're looking for here. That's what I'm hoping for. So we can get this thing sealed up. Thing's hard to get off with the dwell pins on the top of the head there. All right. There she is. And as you can see, the end of our solder here is what we're looking for. And see that smash right there? That's exactly what we need to measure right now. Just to be, 0.91. 0.91. So we're gonna go ahead and run the thicker one. So that's the 0.5. So if we throw in a 0.6, we'll be sitting right at 1 millimeter. Let's go ahead and do that. We'll strip it all apart. But now that we know that, take this one off. We'll get all this obviously sealed up now that we know. That's perfect though. Yeah, it looks like a 0.9 when I get a good grip on the solder, which is 0.89 around there. Now that we know exactly what we need to do to get the proper squish, we're taking everything back apart so we can swap the gaskets and get everything ready for final assembly. We have our piston rings here, and yes, these piston rings are marked to go in a certain direction. So they have a T facing towards the top of the piston. That's the point where you want to be able to see those, and we'll get those slid onto there. Now we need to prep everything with lubing up our cylinder and getting our gasket maker ready for the base gasket. So we got some contact cleaner here from Klotz, which works perfectly because it doesn't leave an oily film like carb cleaner or starter fluid would. So there's no oily stuff that gets stuck in your gasket. And here we are checking the ring gap. Yes, we are doing everything legit here. We're making sure the ring gap matches what PM Tuning suggested. So don't worry, we didn't miss that step. Now we're running some Honda Bond on our base gaskets and getting our piston rings nice and settled into the cylinder and slide that onto there. And then we're going to go back and torque these just like PM Tuning suggested, doing it in 3 stages, upping the torque all the way until you're at 18 foot-pounds and going in a cross pattern. We're also going to put a little bit of oil on our seal here just to prevent any ripping on both the spark plug one and the one for our skull cap. And then once we get that on there, we'll set that skull cap on and make this thing look all pretty while we go back and torque those down yet again to the specs.